Where's Mommy?
She's in the kitchen taking a bubble bath.
Oh. Kitchen? Laura, why aren't you in a bathtub?
With all these dishes?
Richie said you were taking a bubble bath.
No, I said Joy's as mild as a bubble bath. This is the new Sudsier Joy.
Oh? Let me see this. Hey, it sure looks sudsier. Yeah, it definitely is. Definitely sudsier.
All right, but those suds are mild. You can see the mildness on my hands.
They look nice. They'll be wet, though.
Well, they wouldn't have to feel wet if you'd give me a hand.
Would you like a hand? All right.
And the back of my hand to you.
Mighty pretty back of the hand that is.
That prettiness, my friend, is joy mildness.
The kind I can see on your hands.
Gee, I almost got a bullseye. Let's see if he's that. What's this? Oh, I never could beat Anne. Then we were on opposite sides in a toothpaste test. My side used Crest. Anne's side used the same toothpaste, but without Floristan. And that's when I beat Anne, because my side had 21% fewer cavities with Crest.
In similar tests, Crest reduced cavities 34% and 42%. You know, more dentists recommend Crest than all other toothpastes combined. So have regular checkups, watch treats, and brush after eating with Crest. Accepted by the Council on Dental Therapeutics of the American Dental Association, as signified by this statement and this seal.
Nice shooting, Anne.
Remember, the only toothpaste with over 12 years of tests that prove it reduces cavities is Crest.
Hello, citizens. I'm taking a holiday from crime fighting in Gotham City. No rest from danger, though, because all around us is that deadly daily danger, traffic. I admire the way all you British children triumph over this danger by learning and using the road safety code, like curb drill. Before crossing the road, you stop at the curb, look right, look left, look right again, and then only if the road is clear, walk quickly across. Now, children, how does it go? At the curb, stop. Look right, look left, look right again. If all's clear, walk quickly across. Remember, be smart, be safe. Always do your curb drill.
When you talk about two actors having chemistry on screen, I really can't think of a better example than Mary Tyler Moore and Dick Van Dyke. Growing up, I absolutely loved watching the Dick Van Dyke Show. I was a bit too young to catch it when it originally aired for 5 seasons on CBS during the 60s, but during the 70s, this show seemed to always be on one of the 3 channels that we had in our area. I guess all told we had 5, but 2 of them were PBS affiliates, so they don't really count, right? There were a lot of things to love about the Dick Van Dyke Show, which was nearly canceled at the end of the first season due to low ratings, by the way. The entire cast was great. Along with Mary and Dick, you had Rosemarie, Maury Amsterdam, and Richard Deacon, and they were all a hoot. And I could, better said, I should, devote an entire video to the genius of Carl Reiner. The show was just so well done. But at the end of the day, if I had to credit one thing for the show's enduring appeal, I would have to say it was these 2. Back when I was watching reruns during the mid-70s, I really thought that they were a couple. They were just so darn believable. When Rob looked Laura in the eyes and said, "I love you," you know what? I believed it. And it turns out there is a reason why I felt that way. Why I believed that these 2 people were truly in love, and that's because they absolutely were. The truth about Mary and Dick's relationship is that they definitely had feelings for each other. So how do I know that? Well, I recently watched this interview right here on YouTube with Mary and Dick from 1999 where they discussed the feelings that they had for each other while making the show. According to Mary, there was a tremendous amount of romantic chemistry under the surface between these two actors. She went on to say that anyone who happened onto the set of the show during rehearsals would have noticed it. How? Well, believe it or not, Mary says it was evidenced by all the giggling that went on between the two actors. During the interview, Dick was even more blunt about their relationship and said that he had a crush on Mary. Hard to blame the guy. However, they were both quick to point out that they never acted out on those feelings because they were in committed relationships of their own with other people. A few years later, in another interview, Mary said that the two of them simply clicked as real people. Indeed they did. While both of these actors went on to star in other projects that gained massive notoriety, I think it's notable that Dick Van Dyke has said that the time spent with Mary making the Dick Van Dyke Show is the work that he is most proud of. Speaking of Mary, did you know that she almost wasn't cast as Laura Petrie? Yep, it's true. She wasn't among the actresses that were initially called into audition for the role. It was only after Danny Thomas, who was visiting with Carl Reiner one day, remembered a pretty young woman who had auditioned for his show as his daughter, but hadn't gotten the role because Danny thought she was too pretty for anyone to believe that she'd be related to him. Well, he thought that she might be perfect for the role of Laura Petrie. As a result, Carl called Mary in to read with Dick, and we all know things worked out pretty darn well. You know, I've got to hand it to this Danny Thomas guy. He's also at least partially responsible for bringing the Andy Griffith Show to network TV, and for that I am forever grateful. It's hard to imagine a world without the friendly little town of Mayberry, North Carolina in it. It really is. I know, you might be saying to yourself, what's this guy talking about? Mayberry doesn't exist. It's a fictional town on a fictional show. Well, that, my friends, may be true. But then again, I like to think of Mayberry as a state of mind, a place that we can all visit if we try hard enough. All right, enough about Andy Griffith on a video that is supposed to be all about these two wonderful people. They truly loved each other. They didn't have to be romantically involved to absolutely adore each other. Their platonic love affair blossomed into a beautiful friendship that lasted a lifetime. All right, now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Good evening. Welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom, and if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly TV, from decades gone by, you've come to the right place. So before I get going, first, huge shout out to my friend Lance Chaffin, who is tonight's executive producer. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend, and don't you worry, it will definitely go towards Diet Coke. Truly appreciated. Thanks for your support, Lance. What better clip to play than Wednesday on Wednesday, right? All right, let's see who's here. Let me scroll up to the very top and get the people that have been hanging around the longest. And we'll just kind of work our way through the list. Let's see. Danny Staten was here. Looks like he was here bright and early and then realized that the live stream tonight was going to be a little bit later. That's to accommodate Jill's schedule. She's Pacific time, and it just worked out a little better. Thank you so much, Lance Chaffin, again, for that super chat. Jerry Gillespie, good to have you here. Gary Carpenter, thank you for joining us. Emily Miller, 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain. It's a late show this week. I don't know, as I go forward, I am back part of the workforce again, so I've got to figure out what the right time is for my live streams. We may actually just see a decrease in live streams for the next little bit. Hard to say. We may see one regular live stream a month and then a members only live stream. Adrian James, welcome. Good to have you here. Oh, don't leave us too soon, Emily. I should say channel member Emily Miller. Channel member John Collins. Yes, there is indeed a live stream tonight, my friend. Welcome to it. Let's see who else is here. Tom McCluskey, welcome to the live stream. Angela McArdle, great to have you here as well. Working my way through the list. David Thomas, welcome to the live stream. Great to have you here this evening. Let's see who else we have here. Keith Risk, welcome to the live stream. Don't know what that conversation is about. I think you guys were talking about food earlier, which is actually a great conversation to have, given that our guest this evening is something of an expert when it comes to food and nostalgia and memories. Constance Cherry, welcome. Good to have you here. Greg Bennett, welcome to the live stream. Channel member Sean Innes, thanks for joining us tonight, my friend. Michelle Books, welcome as well. Karen Lee Maloney, great to have you here. Channel member Tracy Roth-Myers, hello. Good to have you with us. Let's see. Keep scrolling here. Cro-Minion is here hanging out. We've got about 50 people. Oh, there's my buddy Pat McCormick, the golden age of television. Welcome to the live stream tonight, my friend. Now, if I miss someone, please forgive me. There's a lot of names here. Channel member Zuperplex, great to have you with us. Blotchy Bear, yeah. that PSA with Batman, Adam West over in England is just so funny. And those British kids, they're very well behaved. They wouldn't ask Batman where his Batmobile was. Melissa Foster, welcome. Good to have you here. Channel member Alan Bellamo, great to have you with us. I just know I'm going to miss somebody, and I will feel horrible about it. But if I do, again, please don't hold it against me. Lamont Bradford, great to have you here. Let's see. Channel member John Collins says, hello, Dave, and everyone else. Another way to support Dave's effort is to share presentations on social media and your personal Facebook pages. I do it all the time, and I am grateful that you do that, John. So, yeah. Whether it's one of my videos like the one I did on Daniel Spencer the other day or this live stream, any chance you get to share these out on Facebook, Twitter, or whatever social media platform is your jam is truly appreciated. Thanks for sharing that, John. Okay. I think most folks are just having a great conversation amongst themselves here. Channel member Lisa Fields has joined us. Welcome, Lisa. Channel member Kenny the Wine Guy. Greetings to you, my friend. John Bernstein, you are here hanging out with us live. Welcome. 420, hello. Tim, good to have you with us. Let's see. I think I'm almost through this list of folks that have been visiting in the chat. John Shapanik, welcome. Welcome. And Starlog. Well, what a great magazine, huh? Yeah, Thomas O'Brien, welcome. Good to have you here as well. He asks, has anybody ever gotten into Australian TV shows of the 90s and 2000s? Blue Healers, Police Rescue, McCloud's Daughters. I haven't, and I should definitely check them out. Tom Lemery, welcome. Good to have you with us. He points out there's 46 watching and 32 likes. So, folks, you can click on that little thumbs up button icon. I sure would appreciate it. I think I said hello to Chrominion, but just in case I didn't, hello, Chrominion. All right, so without any further ado, I've got a special guest tonight, and I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. Now, we haven't done an AV check. You know, I felt like things went so swimmingly, so well last time that I had Jill on with me. And they said, you know what? You pop in when you can. I'll say my hellos to everybody, and then we'll bring you on. So I see her waiting in the wings. Let me go ahead and bring Jill on. And then I want to just catch up with her and find out all the cool things that are going on in her world. Jill Hecker, how the heck are you?
Hey, it's so good to see you.
Oh, it is great to see you. How has the winter treated you?
Well, the winter, I went to Palm Springs. I mean, I'm still here. I spent the winter in Palm Springs. So it's been treating me wonderfully. I go back to Idaho at the end of the month.
Okay.
The snow should be gone by
You're probably still going to hit a bunch of snow in Idaho in next month, right?
Well, I've been told where my house is, the snow is melted. Because I don't know what to do with snow. I'm an LA girl. So hopefully it's gone.
Well, fingers crossed for you. I can tell you, as I look outside my window right now, we just got pounded overnight again. And who knows? Who knows? This is the most snow Utah has received, I think, since the beginning of time when they were recording these things. And in 83, when I was like in my late teens, we had such massive flooding. It was incredible. I remember, being part of these neighborhood sandbag teams and basements getting flooded out. And we have way more snow this year. And just like that year, it is going from 30s today to by the weekend 70s. And that just means it's all coming down at once. So we'll see what happens. We will see what happens. Yeah.
Get your sandbags ready.
Exactly.
I'm so
I've got
sorry
my
to hear
sump pump ready to go, and I checked it for operation, so hopefully we will be okay. So for folks that don't know Jill, that weren't on hand for my last live stream where she was hanging out, Jill has a YouTube channel called Yester Kitchen. Now, that's kind of on the back burner right now while you were working on your book and promoting that, right?
Yep. It's still on the back burner. I'm trying to make decisions about it, but I've got like 250 episodes up there. So if nobody's ever seen it, I can keep you busy for a long time.
Right. And that's the beautiful thing about YouTube is that every single one of Jill's videos, it's what they call evergreen. It doesn't go out of, it's not out of date. It's not stale. You can go there and you can spend hours and hours and just really enjoy yourself. I got to tell you, it's one of my favorite channels. Now, I have to also tell you, and the link is in the description section of this live stream, folks. This is a pretty darn phenomenal book. So, Jill, tell us about Every Dish Has a Story, how it came to be. And I'd love to hear also, it seems to me like there might be some accolades that came your way based on this book as well, right?
Yes, I'm totally excited. So first, I really want to say a really quick hi to Karen Lee. I see you out there. I'm so happy you're here. She's from my channel. I have had my channel since 2018, and I just stopped maybe about 5 months ago. So it's all about food nostalgia. It's all about where these dishes that we all grew up with came from. So I make as close to the original recipe as I possibly can, usually the original. And then I tell the story of where it came from. And like anything from sloppy joes, I saw that in there, to Swedish meatballs, to pineapple upside down cake, and all those things. So as my channel was growing, I started getting lots and lots of comments from people about my mom made this, and oh my God, I haven't thought about this since I was a kid. And people would start telling me their stories of their memories of whatever it was I happened to be making. And I would just get hundreds and hundreds of comments. And it was just glorious because I love to read other people's, it's truly your history and your stories. And I love to read those. And so one day I decided, I was actually working on another book. And that book was more about expanding the stories of the dishes I was creating in the videos. And I was working on that for about 6 months. And I'm just like, this is not my book. What I do on YouTube, and I'm totally happy there. And this is just not my book. So I put it down and it sat for a while. And then as I'm reading all these comments, I started getting ideas about telling people's food nostalgias. And I'm like, that's my book. And so I decided to write a book. And I went out to a bunch of people I knew, a lot of the fans of my channel that, I really got to chat with, all kinds of people, some other people who have channels here on YouTube, cooking channels here on YouTube. And I'm like, so I'm writing this book. I don't know what it's going to turn into, but I would love to hear your story of the one dish that brings you back to your childhood. And are you game? And about half of them said yes, which shocked me. And so this was during COVID. So we set up Zoom interviews, and it was just so cool to hear their memories. It was like between 2 and 4 hour Zooms. I mean, it was just beautiful. They were just every little detail. And of course, I include the recipe of what you're talking about because you got to make it. And so I just started with the Zoom interviews. And from there, I started turning them into stories. Karen, I see her in there. She's in my book. So I started writing these stories, and I came up with this. And a publisher picked me up, and which is good and bad, because if you're self-published, you really do everything. If you're a publisher, you get a lot of help, but you also get a lot of deadlines. And so kind of for a year and a half, I was literally, last winter, I was right in this spot or in Idaho in my office, and I was just sitting in front of my computer writing a book. And would I write another one? Probably not. It was a lot of work, but maybe, who knows. But when the book was published, it came out in May, and the publisher said, just enter your book for some awards. And I'm like, who's going to give me an award? And right out of the gate, I got this. Oh, the lights. There we go. There it is. Nope. There it is. Nope. There it is. Anyway, it's called Abiba, which is a Best Indie Book Award. And I won it for 2022 for my book. So now I get to say I'm an award-winning author.
Let me just say that I haven't read it cover to cover yet. The beautiful thing about this book, Jill, is it's much like a YouTube channel. I can go in and I can pick out a story and just kind of read that one, enjoy it. I was expecting it. This isn't at all what I was expecting, by the way. When we last visited, I kind of thought it was going to be like a literary version of your channel, right? And yeah. I was thinking that a lot of the recipes that I saw on your channel would end up in here. And instead, I'd say 75%, 80%, 85% of this are the stories, the memories. And me, that's me. I'm a merchant of memories. I love the nostalgia factor. The fact that you talk about an enchilada and the time traveling capabilities that an enchilada has is just it's music to my ears. And the stories in here are phenomenal. There's 20 of them in here, and each one of them is, like you said, it's these great you've done a fantastic job of capturing the personality of each of the individuals, and then of course there's a recipe or two that accompany it. So, this is a fun one to just pick a chapter, pick a person, maybe look at what the food item is, and then, you read it and then go make the recipe. This is really cool. And folks, like I said, the link is in the description section. And if it feels like I'm pushing you to buy the book, it's only because I am. Buy the damn book, people. Help Jill out. She's she's an award-winning author, but for heaven's sakes, every author wants not only to make a little extra coin so they can take their significant other out to dinner every now and again, but they want to be read. It's just like a YouTube creator. We want people to watch our videos. And so I know that Jill would love you guys to get a copy of her book in your hands and to enjoy it as much as I have so far. So this is really great, Jill.
Oh, that's so kind. Thank you so much, Dave. Really appreciate it. It was a labor of love. And the stories are just so different. Every one of them is so different, so heartwarming.
Yeah.
And
yeah, they really are. Yeah. But I think not that you really found great stories, but I think you also, some of the credit has to go to you, your talent as an author, to be able to capture that, right? And put it on the printed page. So again, that award is well-deserved in my mind.
Thank you very, very much. That just, my day is made.
So now that, anything else you want to say about the book? Because you know me, I've got stuff I want to talk to you about.
The only thing I can say, because I know his channel has gotten massive and I'm so crazy proud of him. If anybody is a fan of Tasting History with Max Miller out there, his story is in the book. He's a great guy. Yes. I love his story. And so if you want to read about him when he was a kiddo, it's in there. But every story, it's all walks of life. All walks of life, people are in there, from old to young.
I haven't read the chapter, now this In the Kitchen with Karen. I haven't read Karen's chapter yet.
Oh, yep, there she is.
Is that a good one?
She is my good friend. Hi, Karen. That's they're all great, but yes, sure. I mean, a lot of people go back to their parents or their grandparents and talk about them and how they inspired them. Karen is a chef, and inspired them to be who they are and what they do. And so that's Karen's. That's one of, I mean, it's a beautiful story. And actually, I learned something new in hers. I had to learn what a root cellar was, and now I know.
Aren't there a lot of root cellars in Idaho, Jill?
Well, I've only been living there for 2 years.
That's right.
So
you're an LA native. You're an LA native. That's right.
I am a city girl, which there are no root cellars. There's no snow.
No. All right. So as we were visiting, you asked me, you said, what are we going to talk about tonight, Dave? And I said, well, we're going to talk about TV mostly. And I asked you, but before we go there, I'm going to ask everybody to share what their favorite television sitcom is. But before I even go there, I got to stop. I got to backtrack real quick because my friend, let me see if I can find it, Angela McArdle, has joined that elite crew of individuals that are channel members. And Angela, I thank you for your support, for doing that. It means the world to me. You will be invited to exclusive live streams and get to see the videos maybe a day or two ahead of time. Sometimes. I can't promise that all the time, but most of the time you get a little bit of an advanced peek at the videos. And every once in a while, I've gotten feedback from you, the channel members, on a video, and I've gone back in and incorporated those changes. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for being a super fan of the channel. Really appreciate it. And let me find a way to say thank you to Angela. How about this one? Yo. Yeah. The good captain. What a wonderful feller he was. All right. So let me ask everybody, let me pull up this banner and ask the question, what is your favorite TV sitcom from the 70s? And of course, Jill's going to tell us hers in just a minute, but let me get some of your shows, things you loved, and we'll put them up here on the screen. Let's see. Scrolling. Way too many people in the chat. No, I don't mean that. There's just the right amount of people in the chat, but I want to make sure that I capture everything here. I do have to put this comment up on the screen. Channel member John Collins says, Dave is serious about that book since he said, damn, that's about as spicy. Yeah, you know what? That was me throwing an exclamation point and as much emphasis as I humanly possibly can on everybody's need to pick up that book. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Welcome back, Cotter, says Angela McCardle. And I see that Angela, in addition to becoming a channel member, dropped a super chat as well. Angela, you're going to make me go back to the video vault here, find something else. How about this one here? Speaking of Diet Coke, I need to take a swig real quick here. Okay, let's see what else we have here. Thank you for your support, Angela, and for that super chat. 420 says, All in the Family, a great sitcom from the 70s. Really revolutionary, right? Lisa Fields, yeah, that's a 70s one. I kind of think of it as an 80s one too, but that and WKRP, I think they were in the late 70s and early 80s. Love WKRP in Cincinnati. One of my faves. Good one, Dave. Mike D says The Facts of Life. That was the 70s too. That's right. Into the 80s. Well done, channel member Mike D. Let's see. What else we got? Michelle Book says, welcome back, Cotter. Keith Riss says WKRP was the 80s. I think if you look, I think it might have debuted in 79. It feels like it might have, Keith. I could be wrong, though. Lamont Bradford says Good Times. Love that show. And The Brady Bunch. Debuted in 69, but really was a 70s sitcom as well. Melissa Foster says Maude. Another from the House of Lear. Any of these shows ones that you enjoyed, Jill? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. WKRP is one of my all-time favorite.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley back-to-back every Saturday night.
Right. I want to say it was Tuesday. At least when it really became powerhouses, they were on Tuesday nights. Happy Days and then Laverne and Shirley. And I think Three's Company right after that. Let's see. That's not a sitcom, but it's great, Gary. Wonder Woman was phenomenal. 420 says Norman Lear winning so far. Sean Ennis. Yeah, I'm surprised your channel member Sean Ennis mentions MASH, and that one was big in the 70s, as does Pat McCormick. Yeah, good one. Oh, here's one I don't see mentioned too often. Love American Style. Do you remember that one, Jill?
I remember, but I think I was too young to watch it, so I don't know if I was allowed. But going back.
Yeah, it came on in the early 70s. I caught it in reruns in the late 70s, but it was a little spicy. I can see where maybe mom and dad in the early 70s might have said, not for you. Danny Staten says they're still in shock and awe that I dropped the D word.
Wow.
Channel member Lance Chaffin says Three's Company. Yeah. Let's see.
I actually did a video about them.
Oh, yeah.
About that show. And I did a bunch of trivia and I made a dish that Jack made.
I haven't watched that video. That is on my list to watch. Cool. I got to watch that one. Three's Company is one of my faves. Now, that was a show, Jill, that I wasn't allowed to watch because, Jack was pretending to be. My family was ultra conservative, and just the thought that someone was pretending to be anything other than heterosexual was a problem in the Sundstrom
yes.
home. And so it wasn't until we eventually wore Dad down, but then we were able to watch it, but that was not allowed. Emily Miller says happy days as she got older. Maude and All in the Family, all great shows. Channel member Superplex says sitcom would be The Mary Tyler Moore Show. That's probably a good stopping point for us. And I know there's a lot more, but we've got a lot to cover here, a lot of ground to cover tonight. Jill, what was your favorite TV sitcom from the 70s?
That would be The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Still to this day.
Yeah, it's just a really wonderful show. I put together a teeny tiny video, and then let's talk more about it right after we're done with this.
Yay!
When you talk about two actors.
Not that video. Let me try to find the right video here. Here we go.
It's new on CBS.
We've got it all together.
We've got it all together this fall with the Mary Tyler Moore Show. It's All Together with Mary Tyler Moore, Saturday, September 19th on CBS.
Today we're going to take a trip down memory lane and talk about one of the most iconic sitcoms in television history, The Mary Tyler Moore Show. This TV program aired from 1970 to 1977 and followed the life of Mary Richards, a single woman in her 30s who moves to Minneapolis and lands a job as an associate producer at a local news station. The show was groundbreaking in many ways and paved the way for future sitcoms featuring strong, independent women. One of the show's most notable achievements was its portrayal of Mary's professional life at a time when women were still largely relegated to secretarial or administrative roles. Mary was a trailblazer, a working woman who was smart, competent, and ambitious. Her relationships with her colleagues, including Lou Grant and Rhoda Morgenstern, were central to the show's success and showed that women could be just as funny, interesting, and complex as men on television. But the Mary Tyler Moore Show wasn't just about Mary's career. It also tackled important social issues of the time, from women's rights to homosexuality to workplace ethics. The show fearlessly explored topics that were often considered taboo in mainstream entertainment. And while it did so with humor and heart, it never shied away from the difficult realities of life. Of course, the show wouldn't have been the same without Mary Tyler Moore herself. Her performance as Mary Richards was a masterclass in comedic timing, and her natural charm and warmth made her an instant fan favorite. Her influence on television comedy can still be felt today, and her legacy as a trailblazer for women in the entertainment industry will always be remembered. Okay. Jill, what was it about the Mary Tyler Moore Show for you that made it one of your favorites? And hang on one second. We turned back on the mic. There we go.
Okay. You know what? It was just, I was in love with every single person in that cast. And it was just amazing to be able to go into their lives and just, and now as an adult looking back on it, I love it even more because it's truly a sign of the times of the 70s. And for anyone that knows me, the 70s is my favorite decade and I wish I could just get stuck in it. So it's just like everything, the topics they talked about, the politics, the jokes, everything was just so period perfect. But God, Mary Tyler Moore was gorgeous. And I loved watching the relationship with her and Rhoda. I loved watching the relationship when Phyllis and Rhoda and and then, oh my God, Ted Knight was just amazing. Every single character got their own show after the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and I love all of those too. It's just, unless I'm missing one, but
no, I think you're right. I hadn't dawned on me that, Georgia Engel, did she have her own show? But she's kind of a side character. Yeah. But the main cast, I can't think of a single one that didn't end up starring in either a spin-off of the Mary Tyler Moore Show or their own show, headlining their own show.
Yeah, like one of them got to be the captain of a ship, which is my second favorite show ever. But But yeah, there's just something very magical about it. I watch it to this day. I know all of them by heart, and I never get tired of it. It's just like a grown-up's view of the world in that decade, and all the trials and tribulations and happiness and relationships that go with it. Now, certain things were taboo. Now that I go back, I love when her phone was ringing, but took her a while to open the door because there was no answering machine. There's no voicemail. It's just the phone. And it's just such a sign of the times. It's just glorious.
Yeah. It really does. A show like the Mary Tyler Moore Show really can take someone back in time. I think back to, one of my favorite shows is the Andy Griffith Show. And why? Because it transports me back to a simpler time, a place where it's just like a big warm blanket that I can just throw over me and just makes me feel comfortable with the characters. And the same holds true for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Sure, it's a different time period, and it's a different setting. It's the big city instead of a small rural town. But if you think about it, it still has the same really wonderful qualities, which is you have a wonderful lead, someone that you just really can connect with. And then you have that lead is surrounded by near perfect casting when it comes to the supporting characters on the show.
Oh, yeah.
And I love every single one of them in that show. And you mentioned Ted Knight. Holy cow. Did I think Ted Baxter was one of the funniest people on the planet. And the weird thing is, Jill, I loved the Super Friends and all these superhero cartoon shows. And I never once, how did I not do this? But I was just a little kid, right? But I never realized that the narrator on all those cartoons was Ted Baxter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Ted Knight did all the narrating for a ton of Filmation superhero cartoons and then the Super Friends in the 70s. And just a multi-talented individual, plus we had Too Close for Comfort after the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So favorite,
I got geniuses.
Yeah. I got to ask you, I mentioned Ted being one of my favorite characters on the show. Aside from Mary, right? Let's just all admit that we love Mary. Aside from Mary, who was your favorite character on the show? And why?
Oh my God, because she just said it like it was, and she had no fear. And she was also a single girl in the big city, but she played it so different. Oh.
We didn't hear you.
Huh. How about,
but what,
am I good
did you
now?
say Rhoda? Yeah. Did you say Rhoda?
Oh, yeah. I said Rhoda.
Okay.
Rhoda. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is my sound okay?
It is now, but it was just a momentary blip where we just had silence. So maybe you could tell us again.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely, hands down Rhoda, even though I loved every single one of them. Secretly, I was always pulling for Murray. I always wanted him to win. But Rhoda, she just said it like it was. She was also a single girl in a big city, but she played it so differently. And she was just so in your face, and she was just so confident. And I loved every single dress or outfit they had her in. I actually was in a store and I saw a dress that Rhoda would have worn, and I had to buy it because it was just pure Rhoda. And just everything about her and her, how she won the pageant, at Hempel's in that one episode, which totally brought the confidence, and she got to stick it to Phyllis. And love her. Absolutely love her.
Yeah. So we have a question from channel member John Collins, who says, we neither of us said Lou Grant, who I love, by the way. I thought Ed Asner was phenomenal as Lou Grant. But he says, I have a question about the Mary Tyler Moore Show's successor, Lou Grant. Was there any public unease or blowback when it was decided to make the series a drama as opposed to a comedy sitcom? I don't remember that, but I do remember being surprised when it debuted as a drama. Do you have any memories of that, Jill?
I don't. I just don't. I was a very little girl back then.
Yeah. CBS did that twice. They did Lou Grant, but they also took a character from MASH
And of course, they've said that they took the character from the MASH movie, not the MASH TV show, but they turned Trapper John M.D. into a drama as well. So CBS did that a couple times during the 70s. And I'd say in both cases, they had a great deal of success doing it.
Yep. I mean, yeah. It was, well, once you like know a character, of course you're going to move to their new show.
Right. You're going to follow them. Yeah. And we did with Rhoda, and I was so upset when she and David got divorced. Ugh.
Me too. Yes.
Phyllis only ran a couple of seasons, but it was phenomenal. And then, of course, Lou Grant was a great show. I enjoyed watching it for what it was. It was definitely very, very different than the Mary Tyler Moore Show, though.
Oh, yeah. It was a real newsroom.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Keith Risk says the Murray was his favorite, and Zuperplex says Lou Grant. And channel member Angela McCardle says she said Rhoda. So maybe it only cut out on my end. It could be me. Sometimes it's me, not you, you know? Let's see.
We've got a lot of wins here. You never know.
Lamont says Lou and Ted. Let's see. Anyone else? Oh, Michelle Book says loved Rhoda. Rest in peace, Valerie Harper. Boy, did she leave us too soon. She really did. Let's see if anyone else says anything. I think that's about it in terms of people talking about their favorite character. So we'll transition now, since we've got a lot to cover. Typically around this time in my live stream, I take care. I say, I got to have, we got to pay the bills. I got some sponsors here. We got to take care of some, some messages. And I just go to commercials. I thought this time we'd do things a little bit differently. I asked Jill to tell me a few of her favorite commercials. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to play each commercial one at a time. I've got 3 of them, Jill, from your list that you gave me. And then if you can just, just maybe, I'm not, we don't have to go on and on about it, but just 1 or 2 reasons why you like each commercial. So 2 of the 3 are among my favorites as well. But one of them I had literally never seen before. So I'm excited to play these. So let's start with one that I do remember very well. Let's go with this one first.
McDonald's Big Mac. It's more than just another hamburger. There are 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun. 7 great ingredients working together to make one great taste. 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, cheese, lettuce, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Get the idea? 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
It's your McDonald's Big Mac. You've got to taste it to believe it, you know what I mean?
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
2 all-beef patties.
Let me say a few words about McDonald's Big Mac. It's
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
2 whole... Well, what was that word again?
2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun.
Lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, lettuce, cheese, pickles... Oh, what am I saying?
You deserve a break today at McDonald's,
where your dollar gets a break every day.
So I was one of those that I remember in our home, my sister and I like practicing that so that, we just got caught up in that whole, can we repeat it back? Did you memorize it as well?
Oh yeah, I know it to this day. And I was surprised to see Gordon jump in that commercial.
I know. I
don't remember that.
I don't either. I remember the whole campaign with all the ingredients. And I vaguely remember that perplexed little kid, but I did not remember Gordon Jump. And it may have been that I saw the commercial, but it was pre-WKRP. So this was like 1974. Right. So I just didn't recognize it.
Yeah. How cool.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And I really loved Big Macs, and Churritos are awesome, but I loved the Big Mac.
Oh, that was yours, huh? Number 1.
Well, yeah, I have a memory. So McDonald's was on the way home. We could take a bus. We lived far enough away when I was in junior high from my neighborhood that we could take a bus. But a lot of us kids, we just like to, walk home and goof off on the way home. And there was a McDonald's on the way home. And so those of us that were lucky enough to get a little bit of an allowance, Big Macs were under $1 back in the late 70s, and I just that we'd all go get quarter pounders with cheeses or Big Macs and then scarf them down on the way home and still pretend to be hungry when dinner came.
Ah, the good old days.
The good old days. Yeah, so great commercial. Here's the one, Jill, I absolutely do not remember.
Pork chops, lamb chops, baked potatoes, meatballs, hamburgers, stew, tomato. Gonna get to be a terrible bore when every day tastes like the day before. Come on, get a bucket of chicken, make a licking good, have a barrel of fun. Goodbye, ho hum, get Kentucky Fried Chicken. Come on, everyone, have a finger-licking good time. Barrel of fun.
If your kids are getting tired of the same old food, give them a hot, tasty piece of my Kentucky Fried Chicken and watch them smile. There's nothing like my chicken and fixins that start kids laughing and having a good time.
Get a bucket of chicken, licking good, have a barrel of fun. America loves what the Colonel cooks, a finger-licking good time. Barrel of fun.
I have no memory of that.
No, get a bucket of chicken? Wow.
Yeah. And here's the thing. The very first KFC in the world is in Salt Lake City. You would think I would know that because they had advertisements, but I have no recollection of that song. And so when you gave me that as one of your commercials, I'm like, I got to find it. I got to find it. And it's so cool because it has the Colonel's real voice in it and everything.
I'm glad. And it warmed my heart. It was so nice to see it again. Yeah. And of course, all my commercials are food related. So, yeah. I mean, that just makes
there were a lot of commercials. I completely expected it to be food related for the most part. So, Jill, question about KFC for you. Does KFC taste the same now for you? In terms of my memory, I feel like KFC is not the same anymore. It's a leading question. Do you?
Yeah,
do you
I agree. I mean, no, I don't. I agree. I agree. I used to love the extra crispy, and it's actually been a long time since I've had it because the one time I did have it, I'm like, oh, the memories aren't flooding back. I mean, that's how you gauge it. If I have a bite of a Big Mac, memories are back. And Chorito, which they don't sell anymore, so now I make here. Memories are back. But no, I think the recipe's been changed and the ownership's been changed and maybe some cost cutting has happened. But no.
I think the recipe has been changed.
It's living up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I don't know if they still have this.
In the book you mentioned, going back to your book, the book Every Dish Has a Story by it, people. In the book, you mentioned that the Enchilito hasn't been back since 2003. Really? 2 decades? It hasn't been back?
Yes, I went to the big Taco Bell menu in the sky. Yeah.
Oh my
God.
God.
I mean, it actually went away for a while. I think it was like 99 and they took it away and then they brought it back and it just didn't pick up like it did. And it was just, it was a very soul sad crushing thing for me because that was hands down my absolute favorite thing in the world.
Super tasty for sure.
But, yeah.
Okay. One more commercial. The biggie. This is the biggie.
Ooh, I hope is this the one? Yay.
Please, stick around.
Mr. Green? Mr. Green?
Yeah.
You need any help?
Mm-mm.
I just want you to know, I think you're the best ever.
Yeah, sure.
Want my Coke? It's okay, you can have it.
No.
Really, you can have it.
Okay.
A Coke and a smile makes me feel good. Makes me feel nice.
Be around.
That's the way it should be. I like to see
Hey, kid.
the whole world smiling with me. Joe. Smile.
I am so in my happy place.
Okay. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it?
I get goosebumps every time I see it, no matter how. Oh my God. I love it, Mean Joe. Oh my God. My favorite commercial of all time. All time.
Yeah, it is. It's one of my favorites as well. And I'm glad you mentioned it as one of yours. First off, I am a Coke addict, drinking Coke when I was younger, and now Diet Coke is an older, heavier set male. But it just brings back the chills watching that commercial. And that was like I remember there being a long version, a short version, and that's fortunately the long version of the video. Really, Mean Joe Green, tremendous actor. He really pulls it off in that commercial.
Oh yeah. I mean, you're there, right? You're there.
Yeah.
And everyone wanted to be the kid.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
there were a lot of spoofs,
that.
if I remember right. There were a lot of spoofs of that commercial, if I remember right, for years afterwards. So just that whole iconic, hey, here, try it, various products and things like that. But yeah.
Nothing beats the original.
Yeah, nothing for sure. Thank you so much for those suggestions. That was a lot of fun to watch those with you. So here's what I have planned, Jill. You can hang out or you can drop, depending. I don't know what I want to be, very conscious of your schedule and what you have going on tonight. But I have 10 trivia questions about the Mary Tyler Moore Show that I thought I'd do with the community. So if you want to hang out and see how you do, that's great. We'll probably another 10, 15 minutes before we wrap things up tonight. So are you able to stick around? Okay.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Before I do that, though, I did notice, let me go over to the comments section, because I did notice a new member. Oh, my goodness. Marco Falzone has become a channel member. Marco, thank you so much for your support. Truly appreciated. Let me go over here and just randomly pick one. How about, we've talked about 70s sitcoms. This is a good one. Thank you for your support, Marco. All right, let me take that off the screen. Go over here where I can get my timer. So here's the rules. Here's the way we play this. Hide that. There we go. I'm going to ask the question, give folks about 30 seconds, and then I'll tell you what, Jill, I'll give you first dibs. But if it's one of those where you want to phone a friend, we'll go out and we'll see what folks are saying in the chat, that kind of thing, and we'll see how they're doing. So let me go over to the comments and let me find my questions here. All right. Question number 1. We'll start with, I feel like it's a relatively easy question, but it might not be. What is the name of the news station where Mary Richards works in the show? Is it A, WGAM, B, KXLA, C, WXYC, or D, KZAZ? I'll repeat them again. I'm going to start the timer. What is the name of the news station where Mary Richards works on the show? Is it A, WJM, B, KXLA, C, WXYC, or D, KZAZ, KZAZ? And we've got about 10 seconds left, so don't say anything, Jill, yet. We'll let people put their answers in the chat. Or just, lock them in the old noggin, whatever works for you guys. But time is up. Jill, do you want to answer this one or do we want to phone a friend?
Oh, I know this one. WJM.
Yeah. A, WJM is the correct answer. All right. After the third and sixth questions, I'll have folks tell me their scores. But let's keep rolling. Question number 2. In what city is the Mary Tyler Moore Show set? Is it A, Los Angeles, B, New York, C, Chicago, or D, Minneapolis? Setting the timer. I'll read the question one more time. In what city is the Mary Tyler Moore Show set? A, Los Angeles, B, New York, C, Chicago, or D, Minneapolis. So 15 seconds left on the timer. I'll take a quick swig here. 4, 3. Jill, are you answering this one, or are we phoning a friend on this one?
I'm answering. That would be Minneapolis. D, right?
Correct.
Minneapolis.
D, Minneapolis. All right. I'm going to make things harder for you. This requires some knowledge of specific episodes. Upon arriving in Minneapolis, who does Mary lease her apartment from? Is it A, Bess Lindstrom, B, Phyllis Lindstrom, C, Rhoda Morgenstern, or D, Sue Ann Nivens? Let me start the timer. The question again, folks, is upon arriving in Minneapolis, who does Mary lease her apartment from? Is it A, Bess Lindstrom, B, Phyllis Lindstrom, D or C, Rhoda Morgenstern, or D, Sue Ann Nivens? 10 seconds left, folks. Get your answers in the chat, or just kind of whatever you do. Write it on a piece of paper, or just lock it in your noggin. All right, Jill, how about this one?
Phyllis Lindstrom. And Rhoda was mad.
Yes. Bess was Phyllis's daughter. That was trying to trick some people up, but that's not. Most people remember that. All right, let's see how people are doing. Jill is 3 of 3. When I first did this one, was 3 of 3 as well. Let's see. Let me get some scores from people. Okay. Starting with Lamont Bradford, who's 3 of 3. Custom God. Hey, Custom God, welcome to the live stream. 2 of 3. Channel member Superplex, 2 for 3. New channel member Angela McArdle, 3 of 3. Let's see. Karen Lee Maloney, 3 of 3. Keith Risk, 1 of 3. Tom Lemery, 3 of 3. The Celebrity Juicer, 3 of 3. Folks, these folks know they're Mary Tyler Moore. Kelly Owen, welcome to the live stream, 2 of 3. Gary Carpenter, 1 of 3. Channel member Marco Falzone says Gary. Okay, that's not the score. Melissa Foster's 3 of 3. Sakina McMurrin is 2 of 3. Great to have you here, Sakina. Channel member Sean Ennis, 3 of 3. Gary Carpenter, 3 of 3. Channel member John Collins, 2 of 3. And he's got a question here, so we better get it answered here. Jill, would you ever do a book tour in order to get signed copies to the masses? Whom will enjoy the homespun remembrances of their childhood, or is there another way to get a signed copy?
Oh, John, you're so sweet. I have no tours planned. But if you go to my channel and you go to the About section, there's my email. Just go ahead and write to me, and we'll figure out a way. People have mailed me their books, and I will sign them and mail them back. I'd be happy to. I'd be honored.
I might do that. Okay, let's see. Karen Lester, 2 of 3. Ron Nurse, 3 of 3. Because someday, I'm just saying, someday that signature could be worth a whole heck of a lot of money. I'm just saying.
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That looks like the scores I've got so far. I don't know if there's just a delay on my end. Yeah, they're doing really well. So let's keep rolling. Question number 4. Who plays the character of Lou Grant, the tough but lovable newsroom boss? Is it A, Gavin McLeod, B, Ted Knight, C, Edward Asner, or D, Jack Cassidy? Let me start the timer. I don't know if people even need 30 seconds, but it's, it's a courtesy that I'm giving everybody. Who plays the character of Lou Grant, the tough but lovable newsroom boss? A, Gavin McLeod, B, Ted Knight, C, Edward Asner, or D, Jack Cassidy? That would be the father of David, I believe. And Sean, right? Yeah, father of David and Sean. Let's see. And Jill, what do you think it is?
The one and only Ed Asner.
Correct.
But I don't know if you know, but Jack Cassidy was on the show, and he played Ted's brother in an episode.
Right. I'm a
nerd. I'm sorry.
I have not seen that episode, but as I was doing the trivia, that I became aware of that. But I've not seen that episode. Okay.
You feel bad for Ted.
We're on question 5. This is just like, oh my gosh. It's like for you, for a Mary Tyler Moore expert. I feel bad even asking these questions, but so what is the name of Mary's best friend played by actress Valerie Harper? A, Georgette Franklin, B, Rhoda Morgenstern, C, Sue Ann Nivens, or D, Phyllis Lindstrom? Let me start the timer again. The question for those folks playing along at home is, what is the name of Mary's best friend played by the wonderful actress Valerie Harper? A, Georgette Franklin, B, Rhoda Morgenstern, C, Sue Ann Nivens, or D, Phyllis Lindstrom. And we got about 10 seconds left before Jill, I know, knows the answer to this one, as do most of you, I'm quite certain. What's the answer, Jill?
That would be Rhoda.
Yep.
Her best.
Yep. All right. I have an easy question next, but you know what? I'm going to mix it up because the next question, I'm going to make the next question hard just because I feel like everybody's getting cocky. So I'm going to go down lower into my question pool here, and I'm going to pick a hard question because I didn't know this one was one I missed. And I'm not saying that just because I missed it, it's hard, but yeah, it's hard. Okay, Jill, and everyone out there, everyone playing, what type of hat does Mary toss in the opening credits of the show? And I'm looking for the official name. Is it A, a beret, B, a newsboy cap, C, a tam o'shanter, or D, I don't even know how to pronounce this, cloche, C-L-O-C-H-E, cloche or cloche, or cloche. I will start the timer and read the choices again. And then I'm going to tell you all when we're done what I answered because it was wrong. That should help people. What type of hat does Mary toss in the opening credits of the show? Is it A, a beret, B, a newsboy cap, C, a tam o'shanter, or D, a cloche? I'm just going to call it a cloche. C-L-O-C-H-E. We're almost done with the timer here. And do you want to give it a guess and then I'll say what I guessed?
Actually, I'm going to guess beret. Between
that is what I guessed. A beret. And I got it wrong. It's called, I've never heard of this. I know, I've never heard of this. It feels like it is a beret, right? I mean, I've seen that so many times. But according to this particular quiz where I gathered these questions from, it's called a tam o'shanter. Have you ever heard of a tam o'shanter?
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
It's a Scottish hat, but it looks so much like a beret.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm going to give it to you anyway.
It looks like a beret. Shouldn't it be a beret? You know what? I'm going to give points. I'm going to give us back the points. If you said tam o'shanter or if you said beret, you get your points on that one. All right, that's 6 questions. Let's see how everybody's doing here. Okay, let's see. Channel member Superplex is, some folks did say tam o'shanter. That's pretty impressive. 4 for 6. Lamont Bradford, 5 of 6. Melissa Foster, 6 of 6. It is a knitted beret, according to the Celebrity Juicer, that looks like a tam o'shanter. Okay, yeah. Gary Carpenter, 6 of 6. Channel member Angela McCardle, 6 of 6. There's some experts here tonight. Channel member Superplex, 5 of 6. Custom God, 5 of 6. Celebrity Juicer, 6 of 6. Tom Lemery, 6 of 6. Channel member Sean Innes, 6 of 6. Akina McMurrin, 5 of 6. Karen Lester, 5 of 6. Melissa Foster, 5 of 6. Karen Lee Maloney says 6 of 6. And then I don't know what the parentheses 5 is. Maybe she said beret on that last one. I'm not sure. But either way, channel member Mike D is 2 of 6. Darn it, his net died out earlier. You know, the internet can be a finicky thing, my friend. Thanks for hanging out with us. And, you know, hopefully you just, you know, you're able to catch most of the questions. All right. Looks like I've got all the scores. So we'll go now. We're going to do the last 4 questions, and then we'll see final scores. So right now, Jill, you're rocking a 6 for 6 because we're counting that beret. Which actor played the character of Murray Slaughter, the news writer and Mary's close friend? Is it A, Gavin McLeod, B, Ed Asner, C, Ted Knight, or D, Jack Cassidy again? So what actor, let me start the timer here. What actor played the character of Murray Slaughter, the news writer and Mary's very close friend? A, Gavin McLeod, B, Ed Asner, C, Ted Knight, or D, Jack Cassidy. We'll give folks a minute to really think through this. You know what? No, we're not. I'm taking away time because it's just that easy. So I'm only giving 20 seconds. There we go. Jill, what's the answer?
That would be Captain Meryl Steubing.
Yes. Captain Meryl Steubing. Gavin McLeod.
Sorry, my martini is...
The next one's so easy too. I'm going to go back down. I'm going to go. They're all. I mean, if you know the show, you know the show. But here's one that might throw a couple people for a loop. What is the name of the character played by Cloris Leachman, who won 2 Emmys for her performance on the show? Was it A, Georgette Franklin, B, Phyllis Lindstrom, C, Sue Ann Nivens, or D, Rhoda Morgenstern? Starting the timer. And I will read it again. What is the name of the character played by Cloris Leachman, who won 2 Emmys for her performance on the show? Was it A, Georgette Franklin, B, Phyllis Lindstrom, C, Sue Ann Nivens, or D, Rhoda Morgenstern? We'll give folks the remaining 10 seconds to just don't overthink this one, folks. All right. What's the answer, Jill?
One of the coolest names I've ever heard, Cloris Leachman.
Yeah. And one of the coolest actors, really. I mean, what a phenomenal actor. And if you're a fan of Mel Brooks movies, you know, she's just in so many of those. And she's so funny. So funny. And, you know, kind of one of those type of actors who could look really odd and weird in certain roles, and yet I thought she was absolutely beautiful on the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Beautiful. And those clothes they had. Oh my goodness.
Another easy question. I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm throwing out softballs tonight, people. What is the name of the TV station's pompous anchorman played by Ted Knight? A, Ted Baxter, B, Murray Slaughter, C, Lou Grant, or D, Gordie Howard? Starting the timer. Let me read the question one more time. What is the name of the TV station's pompous anchorman played by the amazing Ted Knight? Is it A, Ted Baxter, B, Murray Slaughter, C, Lou Grant, or D, Gordie Howard? So we'll give folks a second or two more. And I think that is question number, if I'm counting right, 9. Take the timer off. What's the answer there, Jill?
Ted Baxter.
Correct. All right. One final question, and then we'll get scores. Which actress plays Sue Ann Nivens, the happy homemaker and Mary's rival at the station? Is it A, Betty White, B, Arthur, C, Marlo Thomas, or D, Georgia Engel? Starting the timer for this final question. Which actress plays Sue Ann Nivens, the happy homemaker and Mary's rival at the TV station? Is it A, Betty White, B, Arthur, C, Marlo Thomas, or D, Georgia Engel? We'll give folks the final 10 seconds to wrap up. I mean, no pressure, but for a lot of folks, this could be a perfect night at trivia, so don't mess this one up. It certainly is for Jill. It's all the pressure is on you right now. Who played Sue Ann Nivens, the happy homemaker?
One of my favorite Match Game celebrities, Betty White.
Oh, she was,
She rocked it up.
Yeah, you know what? Talk about someone that, almost made it to 100. The fact that she didn't make it to 100 is a crime. A crying shame is what it is. But, an animal advocate, one of the smartest, most intelligent people on the planet, who also happened to be really funny and, to B. Arthur's chagrin, really nice.
Yes. Yes. I saw your video.
Yeah. 10 out of 10 for you, Jill. It could be 10. I mean, I took my point away for the Tam O'Shanter thing earlier, but maybe 10 out of 10 for me. Everybody tell me how you did. Let's see scores here. Let me scroll back up so I don't miss anybody. Custom God got 9 out of 10. Well done. Channel member Superplex is 9 for 10. So easy. Is it easy? Well, yes. But why is it easy? It's because it's a show that we love. A show that we loved. Tom has a question. He says, this was on the last one, Betty White. He says, hey, Dave, ask Jill who played Gordy. Do you remember who played
Tom.
Gordy Howard?
I loved Gordy. I absolutely loved him. I can't remember the actor's name, but I loved Gordy. He was just always in there with them.
Yeah, he's great.
Who was it, Tom?
Yeah, Tom, tell us. I'll put it on the screen. Okay, let's see. Gary Carpenter says using the timer is useless. I don't know. But it just keeps us going. That's the point of the timer. Ron Nurse says 8 out of 9, maybe. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see. Karen Lee says, Jill, it was so fun having you here with us tonight. Let me echo that, Jill.
It's so good. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you, Karen Lee.
It's so great to have you here.
I've known it for a while.
Every 6 months I need to bring you on just to visit. So please, don't ignore me in a few months when I start planning it again. Gary Carpenter, 10 out of 10. Excellent, thank you. Tom Lemrys, 10 out of 10. Channel member Angel McArdle is 10 out of 10. Thought that they were going to totally bomb it. No siree, Bob. Channel member Marco Valzone says loved the Love Boat theme, y'all. Who doesn't? Who doesn't love the Love Boat theme? So good. Let's see. Sean Innes says 9 out of 10, or 10 out of 10. I almost blew the last one. Oh my goodness, and the beret. So you're 10 out of 10 if you said beret. Let's see. Was Gordy Howard? He was. Gordy Howard was played by John Amos.
It was.
Right?
It was. Wait, was it John Amos?
Yeah, it's John Amos.
Oh, yeah.
Karen Lee Maloney says 10 out of 10. Don't put the 9 in parentheses. Be proud of that beret. It's a pretty darn close to a good answer.
I'm going to take it.
Let's see. Yeah, take it. 9 out of 10 for Lamont. Celebrity Juicer, 9 out of 10. Sakina McMurrin, 9 out of 10. Boy, everybody did great tonight. Keith had to take a call. So 3 out of 10. Or was it 3 out of 3, Keith? I like to think of that as 3 out of 3. Luke Trekker, 10 out of 10. Melissa Foster, 9 out of 10. Holy cow, I don't know. Did Cloris Leachman win Miss America? Sparky wants to know. Thanks for the super chat, Sparky. Hang on 1 second here. I got something for you. Let me see if I can find something that's Mary Tyler Moore themed. Do I got anything here? Yes, I do.
Why did this have to happen to me? I haven't anything else to live for.
And the winner is Sue Ann Nivens. Hey!
Ladies and gentlemen,
Thanks, Sparky. I don't know if Cloris Leachman won the Miss America pageant, but someone probably does. If you know the answer, answer Sparky's question in the comments, people. Karen Lester was 9 out of 10. Channel member John Collins, 7 out of 10, and says, Jill is warm and delightful, isn't she? That's for sure. Let's see. Ron Nurse said Betty White also gave to guide dog schools. I know someone that met her during her Golden Girls days at the Guide Dogs for the Blind in San Rafael, California. Melissa loves Betty White. We all do. We all do. Let's see if there's any more scores here. Yes, Tom Lemery confirms Gordie Howard was played by John Amos. I should have known that. I should have remembered that. Oh, well. Gary Carpenter says, Jill, glad to have you here. Come back soon. And let's see. Do we have any other scores? Sparky was 10 out of 10. Nicely done, Sparky. And thanks again for that super chat. Zuperplex says he thinks that channel member Zuperplex that Cloris may have won Miss Chicago. So she was a beauty queen. That doesn't surprise me in any way. Does not surprise me in any way. All right. So, Jill, one last time. We should probably just throw this on the screen one last time. Every Dish Has a Story. That is the name of the book by my special guest this evening, Jill Hecker. Yes, the Biba award-winning author, Jill Hecker, and her book, Every Dish Has a Story. Highly recommended, folks. I've really been enjoying reading it. You can buy it just by. Go ahead, Jill.
I was going to say, even though I'm no longer filming, I'm still replying to all my comments. So if you visit me on my channel, I will definitely write back.
So it's not a dead channel. It just has so much content. It's so bursting with content that it really can't handle much more content. But you're there. You're curating those comments and answering the questions people have still. Yeah, that's awesome. It's awesome. I'll put a link to Jill's channel in the description section. It's not there right now, so you'll have to wait an hour or so for me to update the description section. But the link to pick up the book is there right now. Now, there's two ways you can buy it, at least. You can buy it the traditional way, the hardcover way. And that's really, to me, there's something magical about holding a book in your hands and flipping through it, smelling the paper. But you can also pick up the Kindle version, and it's a bargain. I think it's like $5 if you pick up the Kindle version. Yeah, so either way, I know that Jill will appreciate your support. So do it, people. Do it tonight.
I will.
And Jill, again, let me just say thank you so much. Thanks for taking time to be with us tonight.
Dave, it's been my honor. It's great seeing you again. And thank you to every single one of your audience for being so awesome. This has been so much fun. So if you ever want me back,
I'll be suggestions. Right yeah, those commercials were phenomenal. And talking about the Mary Tyler Moore Show makes me just want to go back and watch that. Do you remember the Chuckles the Clown episode? I love that one.
Oh yeah, where he died. That one.
Yeah, where she can't stop laughing.
Yeah,
it's a good one. It's a good one. All right.
Classic.
Thanks again, Jill. Folks, if you want to stick around and visit in the chat, you can. I've got some videos. I've got a video on Ted Knight, a couple other videos that you might find interesting. If you want to visit in the chat, feel free to do so. Jill, if you want to pop in there and say hello to folks that way, feel free. Otherwise, I know you probably have a full night, but I'll be there as well, just hanging out. But again, to everyone that hung out with us tonight, to those folks that opted to become channel members, to those folks that dropped in super chats, and to each one of you for your engagement, your enthusiasm, just, hanging out with us. That is a commitment, and I truly appreciate it. And I could say it myself, but no one says it better than Fred Rogers, so I'm going to let him do it.
You are special.
All right. Thanks again, Jill, and thanks to each one of you. Have a nice night, everybody.
Have a wonderful night.
Take care, Jill. See ya.
See ya.
Would you like some of my fries?
Oh, yeah, thanks. I kind of ate all mine already. Hey, would you like a napkin? I got a couple here, really.
No, thanks. I'm fine.
Great. Gee, it's getting kind of late, huh?
Yeah.
I really had a great time tonight.
Me too.
I guess I better get going, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Sue Ann?
Huh?
Nothing. Night.
Chucky.
You deserve a break today.
Thanks for dinner.
And nobody makes your day like McDonald's can.
Ted Knight was one of those guys who was nothing at all like the characters he played in television and movies. Loud, pompous, and arrogant are just some of the words used to describe some of Ted's more well-known roles. As anchorman Ted Baxter on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Knight helped develop a character that was all of those things, and yet, somehow he was lovable too. I remember watching that show with my parents as a kid and thinking, I really shouldn't like this guy, and yet for whatever reason, I did. And wouldn't you know it, it turns out that I wasn't the only one. Debuting in 1970, The Mary Tyler Moore Show ran for 7 seasons on CBS, and during that time, Ted was nominated for 6 Emmy Awards. He would win that award twice, once in 1973 and then again in 1976. Knight's portrayal of Ted Baxter was so iconic. Everyone thought they knew who Ted Knight was as well. And quite frankly, that bugged him just a little bit. He didn't like that he was guilty by association, and that people really thought that he was the dim-witted blowhard that they saw weekly on television. At one point, he even considered giving up the character and stepping away from the show early. But he couldn't, mostly because he'd worked so darn hard to get to where he was. He couldn't give up. He wouldn't. You see, that's just not the kind of guy that Ted Knight was. Born Tad Konopka, Ted was raised by hard-working Polish-American parents who undoubtedly were filled with both a tinge of disappointment and pride when he decided to drop out of high school with his best friend and enlist in the Army. Disappointed because they wanted the best for their son and they knew that schooling was how he could get it. But they also had a great deal of pride because this was World War II and Uncle Sam needed brave young men. And Ted, well, he was pretty darn brave. As a member of a combat engineer battalion, he earned 5 Bronze Stars during his military service. Years later, many of Ted's showbiz friends would scratch their heads when they would hear about Knight's heroism during World War II. Why? Well, because they hadn't heard about it from Ted. It was always secondhand information. Like many soldiers, when Ted returned home from the war, he didn't really enjoy talking much about it. What he really enjoyed doing was entertaining, and to that end he learned ventriloquism and puppetry and found himself working as a host of a daytime children's show on a local television station. And when Ted packed his bags and moved out west, he started to find steady work. He had a bit part in that classic Hitchcock film Psycho, and he started to land guest spots on TV shows like The Twilight Zone and Gomer Pyle. And when he couldn't find work, Ted would do whatever he had to in order to keep food on the table. Ted had married the love of his life, Dorothy, in 1948, and she was so supportive of his dreams to make it in show business that Ted felt duty-bound to take whatever type of work came his way. Even after Knight landed the role of Ted Baxter, he would look for other opportunities to supplement his income. One of those opportunities presented itself in the form of some voiceover work on one of my favorite cartoons of all time. Yes, we're talking The Super Friends. When Hanna-Barbera's take on the DC Comics Justice League characters debuted in 1973, I immediately recognized the voice who introduced the characters during the opening title sequence and was the narrator of the show. And Ted's voice was perfect. I'm sure each season of the show was just a few days of work in the recording studio, It probably wasn't the type of money that Ted was getting on the Mary Tyler Moore Show, but of all the things that Ted has done, this will forever be my favorite. I also enjoyed his comedy album, which surfaced in the mid-70s. There's a song on it called Hi Guys that Dr. Demento used to play on his radio show. Back before streaming music and MP3 files or even CDs, I used to record Dr. Demento on Sunday evenings and then re-listen to those songs all week. Hi Guys was one of my favorites. Well, along with Shaving Cream and Another One Rides the Bus. After the Mary Tyler Moore Show ended, things got quiet for a little bit. Ted tried his hand at his own TV show, and it just lasted 6 episodes before being unceremoniously dumped by CBS. I will never, for the life of me, understand how network executives think a handful of episodes of any show is enough to determine whether or not a show will be a hit. Although Ted was disappointed by his show's cancellation, he rebounded nicely in 1980 with a co-starring role in the Chevy Chase comedy Caddyshack as Judge Smails, a stodgy blowhard who was a whole lot less lovable than any character he had ever played before. Caddyshack was a hit, and Ted's career was firing on all cylinders. Taking advantage of the momentum created by having a hit movie, Ted agreed to star in a sitcom for ABC called Too Close for Comfort. The show tried to hit many of the same notes as another ABC sitcom, Three's Company, and was pretty darn successful in the ratings, at least for the first couple of seasons. After the ratings started to dip during the 3rd season, ABC chose to cancel the show, and Ted and the rest of the cast, they agreed to continue on as a first-run syndicated program where it ran for a few more years. During the time that Too Close for Comfort was on TV, the show changed a lot. At first, it was about how Ted and his wife, played by Nancy DeSalt, dealt with their daughters living in their basement apartment. But as time went on, the Rushes became parents again, and the focus shifted away from just Henry's 2 lovely daughters and really became more about beginning again as parents when you thought you were finished with that phase of life. In fact, during the show's final years, the girls weren't part of the regular cast at all, and the show changed its name to The Ted Knight Show. It was at that time that Ted became aware that his colon cancer, which had been first detected way back in 1977 and treated successfully, had returned with a vengeance. Production on The Ted Knight Show was put on hiatus, and everyone waited for Ted to get better. Sadly, that did not happen. The cancer spread to Ted's bladder and his lower gastrointestinal tract, and in 1986, August to be exact, Ted Knight passed away at the all-too-young age of 62. Ted's funeral was attended by so many people that hundreds just listened to it being broadcast via loudspeakers outside of the church where his family and friends mourned. President Reagan and his wife Nancy sent their condolences. Walter Cronkite talked about Ted as if he were a fellow newscaster. I guess, in a way, they were part of the same brotherhood. Ted's life was a good life, a life well lived, one characterized by a strong sense of duty and an extremely strict work ethic that was ever so ironically shrouded by the comedic characters that Ted Knight made famous. So that's it. One more picture. Let's go with Ted and Chevy. Back in the early 80s, I thought these two guys were a couple of the funniest people ever. I guess, truth be told, I still do. Anyway, please share your memories in the comments section, and while you're at it, I'd love a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and I would be absolutely honored if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
When you heard the news of Michael Jackson's passing, what was your reaction?
Shock. I still am in shock. I still can't believe that he's gone. He was so amazing.
Yeah. What do you remember about him? You guys actually dated when you were young.
We did date. We dated when I was 16, when I was driving. I had a chocolate brown 220 diesel Mercedes car that I used to drive up to the Jacksons' house, to their gate.
And you'd pick up Michael?
And I would pick up Michael in my little Mercedes diesel that I was like so embarrassed to even be in. And we would go out and we would.
How old was he at the time?
Let's see, if I was 16, he was 14.
Oh, younger men.
Cougar, definitely, yes. yeah. And I was just absolutely in love with Michael Jackson. I thought he was the greatest star ever. I couldn't even believe that here I am, little Maureen McCormick from the Valley, driving up to the Jackson 5 house and going inside and hanging out.
And Michael was like, here comes Marsha Brady.
I wish. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure he was.
I definitely had a huge crush on him. And we kissed.
On the lips?
On the lips.
Ah, a little peck action.
A little peck action, yeah. It was closed, but it was on the lips.
Okay.
But, yeah, I thought he was the greatest thing in the world. I really did. I used to go hang out at their house. They had a family room, and I remember being with his parents. They were always kind of there, and I always kind of felt like I was being watched, you know, like I wasn't good enough or something for, you know, to be hanging with Michael.
The parents made you feel that way?
You know, I don't know if it was them or my lack of self-esteem or what, but I was just aware that this guy was such a big star.
Could you tell they were as strict as everybody said they were?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were very, very strict. They ran a really, really tight ship. Music was their life. Music was everything. I mean, Michael talked about music all the time with me and his moves and his, you know, he would dance for me. And we once went ice skating together at the Topanga Plaza. It used to be an ice rink there. And I remember going around the rink and holding hands with him. And I was in love. I thought I was going to maybe be Mrs. Michael Jackson.
Aww.
Yeah, I definitely could have been. I would
so
have
he
loved
seemed
it.
very much like a normal kid to you.
Yeah, he seemed, I think he always seemed younger than he really was. And I think I was younger than I really was, and maybe that's why we were so connected. I think a lot of times child stars develop slower than normal people. And but we related so well. And he was, you know, he was like a little boy. He was very, very innocent, very naive, just so full of wonder, you know, everything.
Ever get rich? Let me tell you, it's better than digging a ditch or being chased by a witch.
There ain't no telling who you might meet.
A movie star, or maybe even a Indian chick. Working at the car wash. Working at the car wash. Yeah. Come on and sing it with me. Car wash. Get with the feeling, y'all. Car wash. Yeah. Come some of the work gets kind of hard.
This ain't no place to be if you plan on being a star.
Let me tell you, it's always cool. And the boss don't mind sometimes if you act a fool at the car wash. Working at the car wash, yeah. Come on and sing it with me. Car wash. Get with the feeling, y'all. Car wash, yeah. Work and work, well, those cars never seem to stop. Come in, work and work, keep those drag machines coming. Work and work, back in the studio. Work, I can't wait till it's time to go home. Hey, get your car washed, yeah.
Fill up and you don't have to pay.
Come on and give us a play. Get it washed right away. Car wash. Working at the car wash, yeah. Come on now. sing it with me. Come